What you are about to hear is highly classified. Pay attention and listen at all times. And most importantly, remember, guardians and gardeners are two completely different things. Yes, I'm talking to you, Chris. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now entering Zone 4. And welcome back to the Zone. I'm Brant Fowler.
I'm John Wilson.
I'm Gordon Demowski.
And I'm Chris Ventura.
And that's not wrong.
I don't think so, no.
No, Ron is at Pulp Fest this week, and Chris, one of our extended cast members, graciously decided at the last minute to sit in because I didn't realize that Pulp Fest was this week.
Didn't you write me at like 5 in the morning yesterday and say, hey, Chris, my God, I realized something. Could you please come on? I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I said it exactly like that. No, what happened was I said, Chris, can you do Zone 4? And you said, who's sick? So I thought that was funny.
Because you never ask me the day before. You never do that unless somebody all of a sudden says, I'm sick and can't make it.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, let me say something in Brant's defense. He just changed an entire time zone, so it takes a while for you to acclimate. So, because I'm sure that Brant at some point probably thought, maybe I should have Chris or Gordon do a wacky, unflattering impression of Ron, saying something like, and it's time for Zone 4 episode 11,013.
Yeah.
What's on the agenda today, Brant? So cut him some slack.
That's true.
Sounds like Kermit.
So Ron sounds like
On
Kermit.
40 years, Kermit the Frog.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, but anytime Brant asks me to be on, I'm here. I love being on Zone 4.
All right, so yeah, I'm
I
sorry.
have to do something about that, but, you know.
Yeah, you just pushed that off. Thanks, Brant. Okay. Glad to be here, too.
We're glad to have you, Chris. It's always a pleasure.
It's always a fun time when Ventura shows up.
Jesse the Body's here? What?
Yeah.
Okay. The Governator. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he left
awful.
Sarah Palin in the dust, and now he's here.
There you go.
I'd rather be related to Ruben Ventura from the Mets than Jesse the Body Ventura.
Is he the guy that created the sandwich?
To Ruben.
Ruben, yeah. Because otherwise I have no clue who he is.
I don't either.
Baseball player for the Mets.
Ah, that would explain it. No
I
one
mean,
knows who he
even
is.
I knew Ruben Ventura, dude, and I don't even like baseball.
Oh, well. Baseball. Ron would know. But he's not here.
Ron would do 10 minutes on it. What are you
He
talking about?
probably would. But before we do 10 minutes on anything else, we should mention that we are proud members of the Comics Podcast Network. You can find us each and every Friday over on comicspodcasts.com. It's always hard to say that second S. Podcasts.
Yeah.
And you can also...
it's weird. That second S feels weird.
I know it does. But you can also find Hall of Toys there, as well as several other comic-related podcasts like Why I Love Comics and Real Books Don't Have Batman, as well as a plethora of other podcasts for your
I love that title.
comic entertainment. Thank you. All right.
Maybe you should do a different sort of group pronunciation for podcasts.
Yeah.
Like Podcasti or,
Podkai.
Podcastiopia or,
There you go.
Something like that.
Or how about just Comics Podcast Group? That would work too.
Well, sure, if you want to be boring.
Well, I mean, just add another word to it, How about Comics Podcast Collective? That's a little more.
I think we're probably stepping on someone's name there, probably.
That's true.
If someone hasn't taken that name yet, I think I should go
go
sign up for the page right now.
Exactly. Oh, shoot. But once again, that is comicspodcasts.com for anybody, in case we confused you.
Podcasts with an S.
Yes.
Or a Z if you're in Canada.
A Z.
A Z, yeah. A Z if you're in Canada.
All right, so should we talk some headlines?
Oh, if we have to.
No.
No? We can skip those this week? We do have a lot
Woo! Yeah.
Comic book headlines.
But no, there are a few things I definitely want to talk about. First of all, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice has moved from May 6th to March 25th.
DC blinked.
There's two theories of this, and we'll talk in detail about this, but there's two theories. Either they blinked because they were coming out at the same time as Captain America 3, and so they didn't want to compete, or there's the other outlook, which I've seen in an article that John actually shared with me, where they're saying it's actually a bold move to do like a Watchmen-esque kind of thing and kind of lead the charge into the summer blockbusters. I choose to think that they blinked, but that's just me.
They chickened out. They played chicken, and they were the first ones that blinked.
Yeah. I kind of feel that too, just because everything on the list. I mean, we should also say that they added about 5 or 6 other movies into the calendar,
right? But
all of them are quote unquote the untitled DC project.
Yeah, it was actually 9, I think they added.
Yeah, 9. But they're all the untitled DC project, which, it's a face-saving sort of thing, but in all honesty, they got scared, and really they probably shouldn't have, because Marvel has yet to come out with a decent third movie.
Yeah, I would actually take a chance. I agree with John. Their thirds have been kind of, for a better term, lacking.
Gordon,
let me say this, and Gordon, you can chime in.
No problem. I just figured you guys, John and Chris together, like the blah blah blah. You just kind of get out of the way, let them say their piece, then they take a nap. But no, I think it's pretty straight. I think it's pretty clear. DC blinked.
Yeah,
they just said, "Oh crap, Captain America 3. Let's not even bother."
Yeah, and I think they kind of, like you said, like you kind of alluded to, John, that they kind of buffered that with those 9 untitled dates, saying, "Oh, we're moving back, but here, we're planning all this stuff." But at the same time, I agree though that even if Captain America 3 is as great as the previous 2, it's Batman and Superman on screen. It's going to do well no matter when they put it out. I don't care. It's just, even if it's a sucky movie, it's going to do well just because of that fact.
They keep forgetting that they own 3 right off the bat, and some people could even say 5 of the most recognizable names in comics.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You've got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Those names alone will put butts in seats.
Exactly. Agreed. So I don't know. But
I would have expected. Oh.
No, go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say I would have expected DC to hold their guns and, say, well, we got 3 big names, plus they were saying there were going to be other cameos. I thought that they would be bold and say, okay, fine, we'll go up against Cap 3.
Yeah.
And, honestly, I think they also forget that they're a bigger corporation than Disney is. They're running scared from Disney.
Yeah.
But I mean, sure, they have a... Go ahead.
John, you just answered your own question. I mean, Disney is not just Marvel. Disney is kind of a powerhouse. And right now Disney has, when you consider they've got Star Wars, they've got, Marvel Studios, they also have their own properties. I think that, I wouldn't say it was a smart idea for them to chicken out, but, DC has this long history of shooting themselves in the foot. And I know they want to kind of lead the charge in, but let's face it, they blinked. They said they weren't confident enough in their own, and for them, this is relatively new because I don't think they have any idea how to do a blockbuster like the Avengers.
Yeah.
I think, the only choice they had was the honorable one, and that's honorable should be in air quotes.
Yeah. Agreed. But, just to put this out there for everybody that's not aware, the 9 dates that they came up with for their untitled movies, they have another one they're planning for third quarter of 2016, in August, I believe. Then they're adopting the Marvel strategy, basically, which is 2 a year. Of course, Marvel's planning on 3 a few of those years, but 2 a year for the next, all the way through 2020. So...
Hmm.
Interesting.
when they get better, when the movies get better, then we'll talk about being excited twice a year.
Yeah. I'm trying to rack my brain on 2 movies a year, what in the world they would be doing, but, I mean, aside
there's
from Batman,
Wonder
Superman
Woman.
sequels.
There's Wonder Woman, there's Flash, there's Aquaman, there's the Justice League, there's the Teen Titans, there's Nightwing.
I don't think they're going to go Teen Titans.
I'd be real surprised.
I'm just throwing names out.
No, I know.
I'd be real surprised if they did a Nightwing movie, to be honest with you.
I'd honestly be surprised if they did a Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah, that too. Maybe they'll get bold and do Green Lantern again.
Maybe. That went so well the last time.
I know, right?
You know, look who they picked.
So, anyway, that's basically the gist of that story. They moved their date, so there you go. All right, moving on to a much more interesting story. Jim Lee redesigns Boo Berry, and no, this is real because we already know that for October, DC Comics is doing monster variants for their October shipping titles. USA Today reported yesterday, I think, that DC and General Mills are actually teaming up to redesign the classic characters like Boo Berry, Frankenberry, Count Chocula for the cereals for Halloween this year. So that's interesting. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess, but why? You know, is the image that came with the story, is that his redesign?
I don't know if that's...
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay,
well,
because...
It does say it is. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And how is that any different from, or very different from the normal one?
I'd have to look and see what...
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look at it, but, you know, he was saying how, or the article was saying how, you know, simple characters are tougher to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they did come to you to be a little, you know, a little more out there, though, a little more different.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're going to turn in something that, what, you gave him eyelids and cocked his hat like 3 inches off to the left, is that your whole design? I mean, come on, Jim Lee, you're better than that.
Yeah.
If they wanted a tracer, they would have hired Greg Land.
Yeah, exactly. I just looked it up, and the original Boo Berry was just like a squiggly line kind of ghost thing.
Well, yeah, you know, a little 2-dimensional thing.
Yeah, but it looks like in recent years they have updated him with a more 3-dimensional look with the eyelids and eyebrows and cocked hat and everything. So
yeah, I mean, I don't like Blueberry because I don't necessarily go in for blue milk.
Yeah.
I really only, of all that little monster stuff, the only one I've really eaten is Count Chocula.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'll have to wait and see the whole image. I wish the story had ponied up a little better shot, but I mean, honestly, doesn't he have better things to do right now?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, his company is kind of floundering in a lot of ways.
Right.
You know, and leaving everything to Didio has never been a good idea.
Yeah.
So I think it's time for Jim to, like, step up and take the reins and go, okay, I'm done with my little vanity project now. I redesigned a ghost. Now let's fix our company.
Yeah. You know,
I have one question that needs to be asked of all this.
Okay.
Where the hell is Yummy Mummy?
Apparently no Yummy Mummy.
That's a good question.
Come on. If you're going to I hate to be a hardcore fanboy about this, but if you're going to redesign those 3 cereals, redesign the hidden 4th one, and do Yummy Mummy.
Exactly.
There.
Nope, Yummy Mummy's the Aquaman of the cereal group. And he gets no love.
They didn't do Fruit Brood either, which I doubt anybody remembers.
I honestly never heard of that cereal.
Fruit Brood as well.
I've never heard of that.
Bill Glavin, there's an episode of Raymond where we went all into the history of these cereals. I don't know why, but
no subject that week.
No, we had subjects, but it became a sidetrack. I forget what the reason was. I think it was because of something involving Frankenberry at one time. But anyway, Bill Gladman went into this whole rant about Fruit Brute, how that was his favorite, and we played the little commercial. We looked it up on YouTube and everything for it. So
I honestly have to say I have never in my considerably long life here ever seen Fruit Brute cereal.
I have not either, but hey.
Never heard of
Well,
it.
I think Fruit Boot and Yummy Mummy were discontinued in the late '60s, just before like they started taking out sugar from cereals and making toys safe instead of out of metal.
Yeah.
Oh, that it had red dye number 27 or whatever in it, and they had to get rid of it.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, it's. I mean, yay for them.
Yeah.
I don't know how to address this story with any enthusiasm at all, especially not having a bowl of Count Chocula in front of me.
Exactly.
Maybe if I had a bowl in front of me, I'd feel different. But
No, honestly, I will say I really do like the Dodson's version of Count Chocula here. Their take on him. That's who did Terry and Rachel Dodson did that one, and Dave Johnson did Frankenberry. Just put that out there. But yeah.
Oh, so there you go. Jim Lee lost a bet.
there you go. That's what it was.
It's like, okay, Jim was probably like, you know what? I bet you they're going to come to me and they're going to give me Count Chocula because I totally DC and I am awesome. And when General Mills said, oh, we'll give him Blueberry because nobody wants him, yeah. Jim said, okay, yeah, I'll take Blueberry. I lost the bet.
Anyway, I think we spent enough time on that.
I think we spent too much time on that.
All right. Okay, so some interesting news for at least three of us on the show. More castings for Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We get, what's the first guy's name?
Kyle MacLachlan?
Yeah, McLaughlin. I couldn't remember his first name. I was trying to find it. Kyle MacLachlan. Who is going to play, we don't, do we get his name?
Chloe's
we get
father.
the other guy. Okay, yeah, he's playing Chloe's father, which we saw him. And Henry Simmons is playing Alfonso Mack McKenzie, a mechanic in his 30s, who's allied with Coulson.
Alfonso Mack McKenzie. Why does that name sound familiar?
He's based on a comics character that's a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent from Nick Fury versus S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay, maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kyle MacLachlan, one, not even the least bit Asian, which, you know, Chloe is kind of, or at least, Chloe Bennett is, anyway.
Could be Asian from her mom's side, too.
Apparently, but anyway, but yeah, interesting casting because, you know, Kyle MacLachlan's always in the really kind of, you know, weird David Lynchy sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Twin Peaks and, you know, things like that. So yeah, I get the feeling that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. might be taking a turn towards the weird.
I would say, yeah.
With him. Actually, I was watching a thing, what's their name? Nerd Warehouse, something does these panels at San Diego
Nerdist?
every year.
Nerdist?
And no, not Nerdist. It's what the heck is their name? But anyway, they did panels and they happened to have Chloe on one of the panels. It was actually supposed to be Joss Whedon's panel, but Joss is Nerd HQ. That's what it is.
I was about to say that because I looked it up.
Yeah. Well, I actually still have the video partially open on the other page. I was just listening to it. And she was kind of confirming that they are taking a somewhat darker sort of bent. And this definitely confirms it, because you don't generally see Kyle MacLachlan in happy-go-lucky things, unless you count, you know, Showgirls.
Yeah.
Which, that was a joke for anyone who's seen Showgirls. I know you haven't, Bryant, and I don't know who else has, but...
I have seen it.
Oh, you have seen it, okay.
Because it was the girl from Saved by the Bell.
Oh, that's right, and shattered your mind, didn't it?
Indeed.
Well, Brant, just to be clear, you saw the R-rated version and not the heavily edited for TV version, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Tentatively, he says.
Yes, yeah, well, I mean, you know, be glad you didn't see the completely unrated version, because it's worse. Yeah. But anyway, it's worse in a lot of ways, but... So he could be the source of the 084, possibly? One wonders. Yeah. I mean, you know, he is old enough to have been a, you know, quote-unquote, I guess, first-generation superhero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of, if we're following that that sort of line that that the current Marvel superheroes are kind of second or third generation.
Right.
But yeah, weird casting.
Yeah, it is weird casting, and it's weird to cast somebody like Henry Simmons as just a mechanic.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. He's not gonna be just...
Because he's a very, I don't know, I know I've seen him in some things, and he's a very imposing presence.
Yeah, he's huge. If I'm thinking of the same guy, I mean, he's huge.
Yeah.
Like a bulky, even bigger than, much bigger than, guy that played Falcon. Can't remember his name.
Anthony Mackie.
Thank you.
Is Henry Simmons, he was on NYPD Blue for a while?
Yeah.
Is that the guy?
He's a huge guy. So, just having him stick his head out of a car hood or whatever. Yeah, I think this is a setup for something.
Yeah, this is a guy who I thought could play like...
he could be Black Panther.
Well, I was thinking DC-wise, he could have been Steel,
Oh, he could be Cage, too, for that matter, just because he's that big. I mean, he's that guy.
He is 6'4", and the dude is built like a rock. I mean, he's buff. So.
Oh, yeah, he would break Lola by sitting on the hood.
Yeah.
Trust me.
So, very interesting.
Yeah, so looking forward to it. As Ming-Na keeps teasing on Twitter, it's September 23rd for the premiere, so...
Yes. Can't wait.
I know, it's too bloody long.
I know.
And I think early September is when the Season 1 DVD is due.
Yeah, you're right. And it's got the blooper reel on it. If people haven't seen it yet, it has been released.
Yeah.
It's not laugh out loud funny, but it's funny in spots.
So Chris, you can pick up the DVD set and finally watch that first season.
There we go.
And then you can go right into the current season. See?
Yeah. Or you could have done that on, ABC.com the whole time, but we
Or
weren't
on Hulu. Yeah.
Or Hulu, or,
And let's not forget Green Arrow Season 2. I got to get that on DVD.
Yeah, you got it. You have to get that.
Yeah, I mean, I was way behind. I'm even caught up now, so.
Yeah, it's a fantastic. It's going to be so good. And I know you're excited about that. You're not a huge TV watcher, I get that, but I know after seeing that Ra's al Ghul
yeah. That's why I'm praying I get Season 2 on DVD before Season 3 starts. But I remember when I used to do Smallville, usually the DVD set would come out like a day or two or a week or two after the first episode airs on TV.
Yeah.
I'll end up watching Season 3 first and then catch up with Season 2. But I heard that it's fine. If you jump into Season 3, it's like Season 2 ended. Like, the point of it ended. So now this season's a new season and a new beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Arrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, all you really need to know is his location has changed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
He's in a different place now.
It was the same way from Season 1 to Season 2. It was... Season 1 was its own story.
Yeah.
I mean, some stuff carried over, and some stuff carried over here, but it's nothing you couldn't... I think you could pick up Season 2 and pretty much catch up to what was going on.
Yeah, you could probably even skip some episodes. I mean, just look for the tentpole episodes like the Suicide Squad one and the
anything
Birds of
with a
Prey
keyword in it.
Yeah, anything with a comics title in it would be good, like Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey. Definitely do the 3 episodes before the final. Maybe like the first 3 coming into the series.
But
so,
if you can watch the whole thing.
If you can watch it, I'll watch it all. But,
No, I know, because I remember Smallville was always the first 3 episodes set you up for the season. There's a couple in between that are important if you follow the titles, and then the last 3 are the most important. And the mid-season finale sometimes is important.
Yeah, it's always first 3, last 3, and then, anything that has kind of a tentpole title to it,
Because I totally skipped out on Season 9 and 10 of Smallville, and I just grabbed the important episodes from both seasons on the DVD.
Oh, I watched every single episode of that show.
I was in a... I'm not going to say where I was in a place at that time in my life.
Fine.
So.
Yeah, I know.
You were in Nicaragua.
They wouldn't be far off from where I was.
Okay. But, Arrow doesn't debut until October, right?
I mean, they're spacing out debuts like mad.
I know.
And it's Flash. Flash is October too, yeah?
Yeah, they're the same week, maybe.
Yeah, I don't really understand. I mean, back when well, back when I was a kid, which that was a while ago. But, everything used to come out at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now they're spacing like crazy. Done it before.
Yeah. All right, so Sony possibly eyeing a Black Cat movie. Basically, it's kind of vague right now, but they did say a female hero, and several sites kind of ran with it that it's going to be Black Cat for 2017.
That's surprising, really. Because she's not exactly a major name. She's really kind of third tier,
Wow, that's
Yeah, and
How about now?
testing.
we don't know yet. Honestly, it's better. Okay,
Yeah,
honestly,
I put in a new headset in.
Okay.
Smart man. Honestly, if they were going to do one, I would think the most hype right now is around She-Hulk.
Well, you got to consider this is Sony, so it's all Spider-Man stuff.
Well, I know, but who owns Hulk right now? Honestly, well, I guess
Avengers,
Marvel would.
Marvel.
Yeah, never mind. But yeah, I mean, it's just an odd choice. I would have maybe gone. Maybe Cosmic would have been better. I mean, they did introduce Frankie Ray in the second Fantastic Four.
Well, that's
Maybe-
Fox, though.
Yeah, again,
Wait, who?
It's so confusing, I know.
Okay, no, that is Fox. I'm sorry, it's Sony, so it has to be Spider-Man. Sorry.
Yeah, it
I
has
thought
to.
Sony also had FF.
No,
at this time.
it's Fox.
Okay, well,
No.
Yeah, Fox has FF and X-Men, Sony
Yeah.
Spider-Man, and Marvel everything else.
then I would have come out with a Silver Sable in the Wild pack then.
Okay.
Anybody, Black Cat just isn't enough of a name by herself.
Yeah.
No.
She's not
You
even.
need Pete. You need Peter Parker to make Black Cat interesting.
Yeah,
Right,
I don't.
He's going to have to be in the film.
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
see a film just about Black Cat because it's. She's a thief. That's all
Right.
she does.
Yeah,
But that's actually, that can be a really great driver of a story. Where
it could be.
it can be a heist film, and also keep in mind, Black Cat, it has the hots for Spider-Man, but doesn't really give, she looks at Peter Parker and she's like, whatever. So
Mhm.
I think you could do a really good, very smart movie around Black Cat. So I'll be the sole voice of dissent saying the three of you are wrong.
Honestly, if you did it and Brant, you may have to help me with the title.
Sure.
Do you remember the Catherine Zeta-Jones and Sean Connery movie?
Oh, Entrapment. Is
Entrapment,
that it?
okay. So if you did it like Entrapment, if it was an older thief
Mhm.
that was maybe teaching her.
Which I think her father was a thief.
Yeah, he was. Or I have a vague recollection of some thief that kind of inspired her.
Mhm.
I want to say he was even French, but I'm not sure. But that would work. But my only problem with this is, and granted, I've only seen 1.5 of the new Spider-Man movies.
Mhm.
That's 1.5 more than me.
Well, there you go. But have they even introduced Felicia Hardy into the
No.
mythos yet?
Yeah, no,
Okay,
actually,
then
she was. She was.
Which one?
She
was
was.
she in the back part of
Technically, yeah, she was. She was a background character in Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'm told.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing her, but yeah, she was either mentioned or she was shown or something. Gordon, I don't know if you noticed.
Really?
If
Oh, she was
reading the
Harry.
news article, I think she was played by an actress named Felicia Jones.
Felicity Jones.
So,
Yeah.
Felicity Jones.
She played. I just looked it up. She
That's a
played
familiar name, too.
Harry Osborn's assistant.
Oh.
So it was a brief cameo kind of thing. So I think that's
okay.
why. I think that's why everybody ran with her as the one.
Maybe. And well, the only way to make that work then is if they bring back Harry Osborn.
Oh,
Yeah.
God,
She
please.
steals from him, and then they build the movie off of that somehow.
Do we have to have that horrible actor back as Harry Osborn?
I know, I hated that. I don't know who he is, and kudos
Stained
to whatever else he's done.
Chronicle.
Okay, that's probably why he was in this. But he just didn't seem to have the demeanor that I would associate with any Harry Osborn. I mean, Franco didn't either. But just doesn't seem to have that demeanor, and with the thing with the hair always bugged me that he can never seem to keep his hair in one place. And but anyway, honestly, just didn't seem to have the demeanor for Harry Osborn for me. So
honestly, I thought he had more of the demeanor than Franco did.
Oh well, anybody has more demeanor than Franco. Unless he's playing Stone, Franco can't play anything.
Well, Franco was just too cool to be Harry.
Well, yeah, that too. I mean, Harry's not cool. Harry's the guy who, was supposed to have the major drug problems and everything in the comics. Anyway, so.
But look at Dane DeHaan. He looks like he's on drugs. That works.
Well, he looks constantly like he's on drugs.
I like him, though. But
well, you like
I liked him in Oz.
Oh, Franco?
Yeah.
He was okay, but Oz was a comedy.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
I saw, my mom was watching it, so I saw pieces of it, but it was really, I agree with John. It was
I think it's on one of the movie things now, if you
I think it is.
But, it's okay. It's, it beats the crap out of most of the other newer adaptations. Still not better than the original, but what is.
Nothing can be really.
Yeah, so.
I disagree, but whatever.
You hate the Lollipop Guild.
I hate the Lollipop Guild?
You hate the Lollipop.
You don't even know who the Lollipop Guild are, I bet.
You've seen the original Wizard of Oz. Come on.
Oh, I thought you were still talking about Spider-Man.
No.
Where's the Lollipop Guild in Spider-Man?
No, I mean, before he said that, that's what threw me off. No, yeah, the original Wizard of Oz.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah.
If I may, let me step in. Chris, you have to excuse John. John has a tendency, before we record this podcast, to be cooking meth in his garage.
Is that what that explosion was?
The fumes make him a little crazy.
Yes.
So
a little. I'm insulted.
Hey, he's 88% crazy.
I'm 88% crazy according to BuzzFeed.
I'm only 61% crazy, so John's crazier than me, that's for sure.
That's right.
I'd beat both of you. I'm 90%.
Oh, shoot.
Stop letting your baby take the quizzes.
The only reason I get the 10% off is because of the baby. What are you talking about?
But no, I mean, this is an interesting direction to take, though. I was already confused that they were doing Sinister Six before Amazing Spider-Man 3, and I know that we had some differing opinions on that here when we mentioned that, but now they're putting Black Cat before Amazing Spider-Man 3 as well.
Yeah, she's not in the 6, though, right?
No.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think so. So it's a little, I mean, I can understand them wanting to do a female-centric movie.
Yeah.
Because, the constant complaint is there are no female-centric hero movies out there.
And they're trying to beat Marvel Studios to the punch.
Right, they're trying to beat Marvel to, getting out the Miss Marvel movie or whatever else they're trying to do.
Black Widow or whatever.
Or Black Widow or whomever, But, yeah, it just seems an odd choice for someone who, I mean, most people, when you mention Black Cat or a Black Cat movie, you're not going to go to Felicia Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
Even most comic people aren't automatically going to go to Felicia Hardy.
I wonder how you keep this from being a Catwoman.
Yeah, well, that's another thing.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know.
That, I can see if you take the character, put her in the right situation, yes, you've got a movie. But I think Sony's like, okay, we've got this Marvel property, and we're going to do what Marvel does, which is exploit the heck out of it, but there are certain characters they can't do, so it's like, okay, we'll just do a Sinister Six because we know Marvel Studios did Iron Man and Thor, and we can spend, they spun characters out. We can do that. So I think there's a lot of cocaine being used at Sony Studios. So much so that it requires an intervention.
Well, it is Mark Millar.
No, he's Fox still.
My one.
Why can't I get away from that?
It's so confusing.
Yeah, it is confusing. The last thing I'll say about it is they can't use a star.
Yeah.
If they use a big name star, it will become Catwoman all over again.
Yeah. No, I agree.
My main question is, so Disney owns Marvel now. They're only missing 3 franchises: X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man. Buy it back!
They won't sell it, though.
They won't sell that. Well, not only that, but they don't have the money.
Well, that's debatable.
Well, but the point I was making before is, even for all its success and everything else, Disney is a smaller corporation than these other guys. I mean, you got to remember, Sony isn't just movies.
Yeah.
Sony's electronics and blah, 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 blah,
At least FF and X-Men get back. I mean, X-Men try to get better, but FF, the way they're going with them, oh my God, please bid them for this movie.
Yeah, but I mean, Sony and Fox are making so much money out of this. As long as they keep making movies, there's no way they're going to sell.
They can't lose the copyright as long as they keep doing movies within X number of years.
Right. I mean, remember when Daredevil? There's the big kind of hubbub where I think it was Sony returned Daredevil to Marvel. That's because the studio wasn't doing anything with it. Mm-hmm. The way these contracts are built, as long as the studio's doing something with the property, that's why Sony's not going to give up on Spider-Man. Yeah. And Fox is not going to give up on FF or the X-Men. Yeah. As long as they can keep up the idea that, as long as they keep something in production, that's why X-Men First Class was made. It was, we don't want to lose this franchise.
Yeah.
Right.
We see that there's money to be made.
And it's the same reason Amazing Spider-Man was made, because, they couldn't get Tobey and them back for a long time to do 4, so they decided, we got to reboot it
now,
or we're going to lose it.
Well, it kind of falls into that is why we have Man of Steel. Mm. Even though I actually liked Man of Steel in a lot of ways. Too, yeah. But the fact was that Man of Steel came out when it did and why it did because of the continuing legal battle with the heirs of Siegel and Schuster.
Yep.
If they didn't have a movie out in 2012, 2013, whenever it was, by the end of that year, they could have lost, the license, the copyright to that. And now it's reverted back to DC almost completely. But at that time, there was serious contention that they could lose great big chunks of the Superman mythos.
That family ruined what their grandparents or whatever they were did. They ruined Superman something awful. I hope that family just stays the hell away from DC and Superman.
There's blame on both sides. There is blame on both sides because
yes,
DC or National really, really screwed Siegel and Schuster back in the day. I mean,
absolutely, yes.
And Chris, to be really fair, what happened in these cases was that you had, I think for Schuster, there was a settlement with his second wife in 2008 where the deal was, you can't go back to us for any money. Here's a settlement. We're done. The third wife decides later on, I want some of that money.
Yeah.
So before we start going, the family's being greedy, because I need to call shenanigans on that. If you create a character and and your kid said, hey, you should be able, you and your family should be able to partake in the financial benefits of that character. Now, legally, there's nothing the Schusters can do, but I get a little leery of people throwing around, they're being greedy, because quite honestly, this, everyone knows Siegel and Schuster got screwed over. A lot of Bill Finger got screwed over by Bob Kane.
Yep.
At least now, I think the effort should be for DC to make amends and do the right thing. Not, you're being greedy, don't do that.
Yeah, there is not in this case though. I mean, they royally got screwed. The amount of the check they were given is ludicrous even in 1940s money. Mm-hmm. But there's also the thing of being work for hire.
Yeah.
So, there's contention on both sides. But yeah, definitely I think that, if DC was smart, and I've said this all along, they would, because honestly, the Schuster and Siegel families, they don't want the rights to these characters. What are they going to do with them?
Right.
But sell them to someone else.
Exactly.
You know, I think if DC was smart, they would negotiate some sort of settlement agreement and get this all out of the way rather than do this wrangling that they seem to enjoy doing
The only
to get this fixed.
The only thing that I'm upset about is, you know, the creators don't, the person who created Superman, they don't suffer. The families are fighting, DC's fighting, so neither of them are suffering. They're just in the middle of this big fight. The one thing that suffers the most is the character that was created.
Well, that's, you know, I mean, the point could be made that Superman is suffering in the New 52. You know, because they've so dramatically changed his...
Yeah, which is a direct result of all that.
Yeah, exactly. And who's suffering? The character. His comics aren't even selling, except for Johns and Romita Jr. And honestly, it's for Johns, not Romita Jr., that's for sure.
And, well, you know, and if they had stuck to the source material, because it's obvious that Man of Steel drew heavily from Mark Waid's Superman Birthright.
Right.
But they didn't adhere to the story as he had laid it out. They went off on their own tangent and went the Michael Bay route.
Yep.
Which is covering up lack of story with explosion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, so, but yeah, we could go, you know, we're getting off topic here, but,
way off topic.
Way off topic. But, yeah, so, you know, it'll probably be a thing for another day.
Indeed.
Sorry. Let's get back to where we were.
It's a good sidetrack. We have good sidetracks here. I only have one more news story left. Well, actually two, because I forgot about the other one. Real quick, DC Comics, their November, speaking of DC, their November 2014 variant cover theme is the Lego covers.
Oh my.
I'll be getting them, as long as they're the same price.
Which, didn't Marvel do Lego covers already?
Marvel did do Lego covers. They did it last year.
Okay.
It was for select covers, but the only difference between Marvel and DC, if DC does this, if DC's doing like with the selfies and everything where it's the exact same price, just a different cover, DC's doing the right thing. Marvel charged more money for the Lego ones.
Oh, did they? Okay.
I don't quote me. I believe they did. You'd have to look it up to be sure. But I remember liking one of the Lego ones and saying no, and I can't remember if it was because it was more money or if it just I didn't like it at that time. But I remember wanting one and then changing my mind. I think it was because they wanted an extra couple of dollars for the Lego variants.
I know usually DC's variants are the same price.
Yeah.
It is. It's probably going to be the same price like the selfies that they're doing this month.
I do like this Grayson one that they showed. That's the only one that they've showed so far.
You know, I'm having a hard time picturing him as Dick Grayson, though.
Well, yeah. He's yeah. Do you know what's going on with the character now?
Yeah, I know he's secret agent man now, but...
the hair's a little funky. But.
Yeah, it's the hair, I guess. It's really throwing me off because, you know, when I saw this, and plus the fact he's wearing black and gray and stuff, I was thinking, okay, why are we doing an uncowed Batman? You know,
yeah.
I guess, you know, maybe if they had made it, you know, and I don't know if this is possible with Legos, but maybe if they had made the hair where, you know, the way he's being drawn now, he's always got those wisps of hair over his forehead.
Yeah.
You know, maybe if they had somehow done that might have worked out better,
yeah.
But...
I just posted a link. They actually did show the rest of them.
Oh, sweet.
They got the Joker, which looks pretty cool. I like the Joker. You got to go to all these different sites to see it, though, unfortunately.
Rude.
I think, yeah.
It looks like the way they're designing is like when they did the issue zeros where they're breaking out of the comics.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
With the Lego background.
Yeah.
That was amusing.
We're getting a Brainiac one, a Wonder Woman. I'll click these so you guys don't have to. Let's see. This one, well, the Harley Quinn one, of course.
Yeah, Lego females aren't generally very flattering
No,
to the characters.
The Wonder Woman one does not look that great. The Harley
I
one.
like the Batman and Robin and the Superman Batman. Catwoman's is interesting. Same thing with Green Lantern. Justice League's one is nice.
Don't give them any ideas, though. We may end up with a Justice League Lego movie before we end up with a Justice League movie.
Yeah.
We may end up. I'll tell you the truth. This goes well. We'll end up with a Lego comic book. That's what DC does. When they see something sells, they sell the hell out of it lately. Like with the Scribblenauts. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, John.
No, there is one. No.
Well, no. There was a story today where Warner Brothers sets release date for 2 more Lego movies. And I didn't put it on the agenda because I was like, okay. I wasn't that crazy about the first one. But,
yeah, well, I haven't seen the first one yet because, adult. But
I saw it with my mom. What are you going to do? These are in addition to, if anybody's thinking out there, these are 2 more in addition to the Legos Ninjago and the Lego movie sequel. So there's actually 2 others that they're going to be doing as well.
I'm sorry, my mom handed me this, and I have to interject for a second because we just talked about this.
Okay.
Going back to Marvel and Disney, it's in the news, the Daily News today, in the business section. Walt Disney Company becoming as famous for Marvel superheroes as Mickey Mouse posted third quarter profit fueled by box office hits that beat analysis estimates. Net income rose $2.25 billion from $1.85 billion a year earlier. Disney's is the world's largest entertainment company. Had 2 of the biggest films for the quarter that ended June 30th with Marvel's Captain America: Winter Soldier and Maleficent. So Disney's building up a lot.
yeah, I don't know how the Maleficent did that well. I started watching it the other day, and wow, I got bored.
I don't know.
Sorry for the sidetrack. My mom literally handed it to me as we were talking about this.
No, it's fine.
No, it's a good sidetrack.
It's relevant, yeah. Oh, there you go. But some of these Lego covers look cool, some of them, so it's always interesting to see what they're going to do next. The last story we have then is the Terminator stuff, which is Terminator reboot rewraps Terminator 5. It's officially called Terminator Genesis now. It does have Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones in it, so that's cool.
Well, there you go. But honestly, with Terminator, let that poor horse die already.
I know, right?
Yeah. I don't know. This one, and Chris said they're trying to do a trilogy now, a new trilogy.
That's what the rumor. That's the rumor I heard was this is the first of a trilogy.
Unless they do a really good new take on it, I don't see how anybody's going to care.
Well, I mean, it is called Genesis, so a trilogy would make sense.
Are we starting from the beginning? Well, actually, that would be a good new take because they always just say Skynet took over.
Mm-hmm.
But we've never really seen how.
Yeah.
So if they go that route, that might be okay, but...
Was Salvation the end, or it ended still with the Terminators in control?
No, it was the end.
So they defeated Skynet.
Yeah.
I still have yet to see Salvation, but I didn't hear good things.
You're not missing a lot.
Exactly.
I like Salvation a lot.
I heard so many bad things, I was like, okay, so I'll wait.
I really enjoyed it. I've watched it several times, actually.
If you like Christian Bale, you'll like Salvation, I guess.
So if Salvation ended Terminator, then the series I'm reading now from Dark Horse isn't legitimately the end then, or does it play a role in Salvation?
I think it fits somewhere in there. I'm not sure. The chronology messed me up with that series.
I think it happened between hours 1 and 2 of Salvation.
Gotcha.
There's no plot that has been disclosed for the Terminator movie. It comes out next July.
Probably won't be much of a plot in the movie, but we'll see.
But Emilia Clarke is playing Sarah Connor.
That's an interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, who's she playing? I didn't hear that. I'm sorry. I cut
Sarah
out.
Connor.
Okay.
The blonde girl from Game of Thrones, which I know you don't watch it, but you're probably familiar.
I know who she is. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's playing Sarah Connor.
the tiny blonde girl from Game of Thrones.
Maybe she's gonna play a young Sarah Connor. Maybe they're gonna go all the way back.
Well, I mean, before she has, the first movie, very first movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger ought to be back, all that stuff. They can't go much further ahead than that.
True.
Because honestly, when, I don't remember his name, but when the character comes back and impregnates her with John Connor.
Oh, Kyle Reese.
Kyle Reese, thank you. God, you do know everything.
I love Terminator 1 and 2.
Yeah, so, when he comes back and impregnates her, that's technically the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
So, it's going to have to be, I guess, between that and, 2, where, it's going to be John Connor as a baby.
Well, there's an older actor playing John Connor in the movie, so who knows?
Then that's good. That's going to completely make it all crazy because, she is a good couple of decades younger than Linda Thompson is.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be a little hard to figure that one out.
Unless it is a reboot, but then again, Arnold Schwarzenegger's in it, so...
Why reboot it? That would make no sense.
I know. I agree. I don't know. I just wish the Sarah Connor Chronicles would come back. I love that.
When have reboots ever made sense?
True.
Very good point.
Any thoughts, Gordon?
I like the first 2 Terminator movies, but I think it's one of those, I think John said it best. Let's just let this franchise die.
Yeah, it's a grab for more money.
Yeah, and it's not even, time travel movies can be tough enough, but you're trying to go back and forth, and I don't think we need another Terminator movie. I don't think we do.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll see it, though, because I probably won't see it in the theater. I'll see it eventually, though.
I'll see it when it comes on a movie channel or something like that.
I might get the DVD or Blu-ray or whatever. But.
I'm holding out and waiting for the original 4 movies of Terminator to die down a little more and maybe get the quad movie set.
I'm surprised that hasn't come out as a box set yet.
It has. The quad?
Like
I saw them at Target.
Oh, okay.
No, it was $100 and something. It was. It had the face of the Terminator. Yeah, I'm waiting for the price to go down. Yeah, no, not the movie.
Wait for the bargain bin.
No.
Wait till it ends up at like Big Lots or something, or like a Costco or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever it is in your particular area. Wait for that, and then.
I love the TV show though. I wish that didn't end so abruptly.
Well, Fox. There you go.
I know.
Well, I'll be damned.
Summer Glau was
went
on
down.
Yeah, Fox and Summer Glau. It was doomed from the start.
Yeah.
I love that show. I recently rewatched it like a year ago. But anyway. All right, moving on.
By the way, it went down. I just want to state it did go down to like $30-something. Never mind.
Oh, well, see, there you go. Now you can get it.
Oh, there you go. Jump on that.
All right, so
I'll go slowly.
Write a review.
Any other news stories you guys wanted to bring up before we move on?
No, thankfully the news has died down considerably.
Yeah, after
Thank you, God.
All right. So, we are returning to a segment that we haven't had in quite some time now. It's time for a Facebook shout-out.
Shout it, shout it, shout it out loud. Shout it, shout it, shout it out loud.
Thank you. All right, so we did get one new shout-out, and thankfully, Carl Dabney, who I have to mention his Facebook name. It says Carl Dabney on his main page, but the link to his Facebook page is facebook.com/BlackStanLee.
Nice.
So there you go. That's
Is he 100 years old too?
I don't know. That's a question. But let's see. Mr. Dabney lists no information in this about page, but he does have a website, workhorsecomics.com. which is a dead link to a Japanese site. So maybe this is a fake
He's a troll.
He may be a
Wow.
but he's got mutual friends with us, a bunch of comic creators. So maybe his link just doesn't work anymore.
He's an extremely quiet troll.
Yeah. I will say he's a fan of Candy Crush Saga, like myself, so there you go. He is friends with the likes of Dirk Manning, Bryn McKenzie, Bill Nichols, Scott Story, all people we know and are friends with as well.
So if any of our those people would like to let us know if Mr. Dabney actually does exist, please do.
Yes, have you seen him in a physical place anywhere?
Right. Let's see. He is okay. He's got a little variety here. Sports wise, he likes the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Bulls. So he's keeping it in the same general geographic
keeping it in the same time zone.
I guess. Yeah, that's about it.
Well, St. Louis does not have a basketball team.
That's true.
And I don't know if he lives in Chicago, but pretty much what people won't tell you is that, and what most Chicagoans won't admit is that the Sox and the Cubs suck just as hard on an equal basis.
That is true. That's
Ask
true.
Ron next week; he will tell you.
No, I agree. And people, when I lived in Kentucky, we always were fans of either Cincinnati or Chicago teams.
Well, it's because we don't have a
exactly.
We had AAA baseball. That's it.
Yeah. So for football and baseball, it was Cincinnati. For basketball, it was Chicago. So, or what have you. He likes Divergent, which I've yet to see. And yeah, not a whole lot here, but we appreciate you. Not a lot of information about Mr. Dabney, the Black Stanley, apparently, but we do appreciate you liking the podcast, and hopefully you're listening and get to hear this nice shout out. And if you'd like to send us more information about you, we would be glad.
Yes, let us know you're a real person.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. That is our Facebook shout out.
And if you heard the shout out and want us to talk about you, like us on Facebook. It's been way too long since we had a new person to make fun of on the website. So
Exactly.
come on, guys.
I just found out something.
What's up?
His he had the wrong what do you call it? Like .com, .net, what do you call those?
Yeah.
Domain?
Domain?
Yeah, he had .com. It's actually .net. That's why it was wrong.
Oh.
WorkhorseComics.net is actually a thing. So there you go.
Oh, well, there you go. So, dude, there may be a reason why no one's coming to your website.
Exactly.
I want to fix that, bro.
Oh, but yeah, definitely check that out, Mr. Dabney. Fresh from the fields of imagination comes Workhorse Comics. So everybody go check.
Oh, nice.
.net.
.net.
Net. There you go.
Put the extra T on it.
Exactly. .net. Like comics podcasts. .net.
Yeah.
But that's our Facebook shout out, so thank you. All right, moving on to topic time.
Topic time. It's topic time.
Topic time! I wish
It's
Ron were here so we
topic
could make fun of them doing this!
Ron, you've been replaced. All right, so for this week's topic time, we are talking about a couple of books, actually 4 in a way. We'll see what we get to. First and foremost, though, is a book that I know we all read, Star Wars Rebel Heist, number 4 of 4, the last issue, and kind of wrapping up. I mean, I think the ongoing series is still going for a couple more months, but kind of wrapping up.
Ongoing series ends next week. I actually bought myself a physical copy of the last issue.
Okay, so Dark Horse's Star Wars titles are all ending within this few-week range here. So
The end of an era.
Yes, a 20-year era.
A 20-year long era.
Yes.
That needed to
Blast
stay
your Marvel.
Exactly. So we'll do what we usually do. We'll go around, get general thoughts, and kind of dissect it from there. John, what did you think about this last issue, which, of course, we should say features Luke Skywalker, as we all knew?
Mm-hmm. We pretty much knew that was coming. I thought it was an okay wrap-up.
Okay.
It didn't exactly excite me, small e excite me, in the way that the other issues did. But I did like that it was a nice, kind of bundled everything together. kind of brought, the whole series full circle. We still got to see the guy that's hanging out with Han being kind of a dumbass. And, kind of typically, which, I guess they sort of have to, but kind of typically put all the emphasis on Luke being like the main guy, even Leia says it's kind of a throwaway line, but if she sort of says, hey, if we had lost you.
Yeah.
And, then it doesn't go any further than that. But it was kind of a nice wrap-up. Chronologically, it was a little confusing at the end because they not only showed one of the generators for Hoth, but they showed the Death Star.
Yeah.
The second Death Star. But it was more completed in the picture that they showed than it was in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So that threw me off a little bit. Other than that, it was okay. A lot of the story was in captions, or voiceover, thought over, or whatever you want to call it, which, it makes sense for a character like Daredevil. That to have that kind of constant internal monologue, or even God help me, Deadpool, to kind of have that constant multiple internal dialogue.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was as effective here as it could have been, and it was a little nonplussed that the guy just kind of gave up at the end.
Yeah, that narration was a carryover throughout the entire series.
Yeah, it was. And I like the story. I like the I guess you would call it a story device. That Luke was kind of behind the scenes in every issue.
Yeah.
That was a nice little tie-in. But I don't have any negative feelings about it, but it didn't exactly light me up.
Okay.
At the end, it was just a nice bow on the end of everything. Yeah. I kind of really wish we could have seen Chewie beating on the Rancor a little bit more.
Yeah,
honestly,
that would have been cool. Yeah,
but other than that, like I said, it was a nice little bow at the end. It wasn't a series that made me excited to continue to read that particular storyline.
Yeah.
Even though I suppose you could say it wrapped up, but it didn't really. It sort of left it open for much more.
Oh, of course, yeah. It kind of had to.
Yeah, well, it did, but,
It could have, if they had had more time, I think it could have gone a couple more issues and
kind
of wrapped it up more properly.
Honestly, if they had done this as a 6, I think it might have been better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'll get mine, then Gordon, then Chris. How about that? I kind of feel the same way you did, a little bit. I enjoyed it, and I too like the way that they tied all the other books in and kind of made everything come back to the center. Excuse me. I thought it was a little bit on the nose that the guy, that the spy was like, I haven't seen that kind of action since Lord Vader squashed through my, my.
Yeah. It never explains why.
Yeah, true. But it was just like, okay, you're making that comparison immediately. It just felt a little bit too forced in that part of it for me. And the giving up at the end, it could have been done a little bit smoother, because it was just like, I'm against you. Oh, I'll suddenly respect you. I'll surrender. And it was like, it was kind of rushed. Maybe they had to rush it to get it out. I don't know. But overall, I kind of enjoyed it. Han Solo throughout the series, I think, has been the best written of that. Not the issue. Let me get that straight. Not the issue, but the character.
Lines. Yeah.
Yeah, the character of Han, I think, was the best written of all 4 characters. The best issue, I still think, was probably the Leia one. For me. But yeah, it was a nice little thing for fans, to just kind of take in, to see it from all these different people's perspective. Overall, I enjoyed the series. I don't regret reading it by any means. But yeah, it wasn't something that just totally blew me away, and I was left totally satisfied. But it was like, I'm glad I read this. It was cool. It was fun. That kind of thing. So, Gordon?
I have to. My opinions are pretty much in line with yours and John's. I mean, it was a pleasant series. It was, I did like the way they tied things up at the end, but I kind of felt that this really kind of had the feeling of, oh, we've got these scripts here, we might as well do something with them before the license runs out.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of thought it really wasn't, I kind of felt that the whole, oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to surrender at the end was just a little too, it felt like he got to that page and said, okay, I need to end this now.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I'll just have him surrender. It just, it wasn't, I didn't hate it, but I was just very, very underwhelmed by it.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Chris?
I liked the book. This one was my favorite, but I feel like the way you did, it was rushed. I feel like they could have added one or two more issues if their license wasn't going to run out.
Mm-hmm.
I did like it, though. The ending was, I look at the guy and he gives up. It's like, you copped out. But again, I've read a lot of the Star Wars miniseries since getting on a lot of the digital books from Dark Horse. And the one thing I learned when it comes to the miniseries of Star Wars is their miniseries, they take place all throughout the history of Star Wars. They're very rarely mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm.
They're just there for enjoyment.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of come off with this series with. It was an enjoyment. It was my favorite miniseries out of the two that we have left. There's still the Darth Maul one, which has to end. That has to finish up at the end of this month. The miniseries, this was my favorite of the two. I love the ongoing series. It's sad to see that go too, but it was a fun read. It just felt rushed. I feel like it could have been one or two more issues. It wouldn't have killed the series. It'd be one or two more issues. However, Marvel wants their product by September, so
yeah.
I think Dark Horse would have done. I'm almost positive, because Dark Horse miniseries usually are about 5 or 6 issues. I'm almost 100% sure the reason why this was only 4 issues was because this is when the contract ran out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, John.
No, I was going to say, to kind of put a bow on this, kind of the way they did the series,
Mm-hmm.
I think this would be good for someone who's really a diehard Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
But, if you're a casual or not even really a Star Wars fan, this is kind of a skip.
Absolutely.
The whole series is kind of a skip. But if you're a diehard Star Wars fan, I think you'll like, I think you'll like the action, you'll like the portrayal of the characters, and for the most part.
Yeah, I'm a fan enough of it that this was something I enjoyed. So, but yeah. So there we go. That's our thoughts on Star Wars Rebel Heist number 4 and the entire series as a whole.
It was definitely in my top 2 out of the 4 books we read.
Oh yeah, easily, but
yeah, same for me.
Which
that doesn't say much.
That may say more about the other books than it does about Star Wars, but.
Okay, so we'll mention this one. 3 of us read this book, and none of us really cared for it. So, Terminal Hero number 1. We actually had 3 other titles. We were trying to decide which one would be our second. Terminal Hero number 1 from Dynamite. I'm not going to say much about this. It's written by Peter Milligan. Gordon, do you know who the artist is offhand?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Let me look up real quick just so I can say that. But this is a brand new series, issue number 1, that came out this week from Dynamite. And none of us were really impressed. The artist is Peter, I don't know how you pronounce that, Kowalski.
The French or the Russian spelling?
Yeah.
Piotr.
There you go. So this, I honestly couldn't tell you much about this book anyway. It's basically about this guy that has a brain tumor and he's about to die, and somebody finds this research and is able to kind of shrink it, but has all these crazy side effects. And it was
kind of weird for weird's sake, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense, and it was kind of all over the place, and just not one we really wanted to talk about. So there you go. Any more needing to be said about that, Chris or Gordon?
I didn't like this book at all, and I should have known from the J. Lee cover I wasn't gonna like it. So,
did it have feet?
Go ahead, Gordon.
And I'll say, Peter Milligan, his writing is an acquired taste. He's done a lot of good stuff in the past. This book's not one of them.
Yeah.
I liked him on Shade. It's a shame this didn't do better.
Yeah, I've liked him on. I can't remember what I liked him on last. I think he did. Didn't he do Demon Knights for the New 52 when it?
No, probably did. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like that, but yeah, he's very, very in this. But okay, so the other title we were kind of iffy on. I think John, Chris, and I read this one. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on this because I don't think either one of us were big fans of it either. But it's another Dark Horse book. It's called Deep Gravity, first issue, and this one is it came out on the 30th, and it is by if I can pull it up, Mike Richardson. Okay, he did the story. The script is by Gabriel Hardman and Karina Becco, who do Star Wars Legacy, so I'm kind of surprised it wasn't better than it is. And art by Fernando Baldo. But this was I don't know, John, you want to describe this one?
Well, I guess this was kind of in one way an attempt to kind of address space travel realistically.
Mm-hmm.
In this particular universe, it takes 3 years to get from Earth to the planet where all the action is taking place. Poseidon. And the thing about Poseidon is the gravity is considerably higher. The atmosphere is slightly poisonous, and it's very difficult to differentiate between animals and plants. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of hybrid characters here. Our main character is a third-class engineer. Essentially, the only one they could afford to get is a general idea here.
Right.
Who had a bad breakup with someone else who's already on the planet.
Yeah, and was it? I mean, I have to interject real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Was it kind of disappointing to you that the whole reason he went there was to talk to this girl that he hasn't seen for 6 years?
I mean, honestly, it was a bit ridiculous, actually, that, I mean, most of us have had bad breakups. But, to essentially piece away 6 years of your life over a breakup, because it takes 3 years to get there, 3 years to get back.
Yep.
If you're staying on the planet, that's an additional 3 years.
Yeah. And to clarify, she had already been there for 3 years.
Right, and she's leaving.
Yeah,
she had to leave because you can stay there for 3 years. If you stay there for 6, you're going to die there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, so that's kind of the premise of it anyway. So he goes there with that's his whole intention, is confronting this woman who is essentially just trying to get, all the specimens packed up and get the heck out of there.
Yeah, she wants nothing to do with them.
Yeah, she wants nothing to do with them. She pretty much, said everything she needed to say 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Or 6 years ago, or however long it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we have that little subplot, which honestly goes nowhere. They talk for a minute, and she gets on the ship and heads out. Then we have, as he arrives on the planet, he manages to get one of his buddies nearly killed.
Yeah. The guy who...
Right.
The guy who just woke up after 3 years.
After 3 years, he was only going to be on planet for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Before they ship back out again.
Mm-hmm.
and he manages to get him injured by one of these plant animal things, to the point where the guy loses his leg and there's too much poison in his body for him to be put into hibernation.
Yeah.
So, that's a problem. So that guy is now stuck on the planet for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things that's odd, we never really get whether or not that the main character is going to stay on the planet or leave.
Yeah.
You know, we never really get that idea. And then at the end of the story, there's a major explosion on the ship that's about to leave.
Yeah.
Something, a meteor, or, well, I wasn't even sure it was a meteor. Well, I thought maybe it could be a missile.
Well, no, I mean, they did indicate that the thrusters had been adjusted slightly to
right,
vary
that someone,
course, yeah.
Yeah, that someone had done something to something.
Yeah.
You know, because the guy was complaining about, well, you just can't do something to the manifest without going through me and all this other stuff, and then we had this explosion that essentially pierces the ship.
Yeah.
Because you see explosions on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that ship is at best disabled, at worst crashing.
Yeah.
Which means everyone currently on Poseidon is stuck.
Exactly.
So, and that kind of ends our story. And if that description sounded somewhat boring to you, that's the book.
It was a very boring book.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. The dialogue was stilted, honestly,
mm-hmm.
at best. I mean, the main character came off stupid, honestly. I mean, like I said, to devote that much of your life to someone who said, I don't want to be with you anymore, I'm leaving, you know, get over it, pal. Yeah. First off, you know, and secondly, he was just kind of there's nothing sympathetic about this character. There's nothing about this character that makes me want to like him.
No.
He's just kind of pathetic.
Yep.
So, you know, and that's your main character in the story. And even, you know, his higher-ups don't really think that highly of him either. So, you know, he's the best we got. So, yeah, that's the story. And, you know, the art was okay. It wasn't spectacular. It was nothing that really made me, you know, visually intrigued. A little muddy, actually, to be honest. So
I thought it was very sketchy too. Yeah.
Yeah, very sketchy. And just you know, the feelings I had for Star Wars, the kind of feeling, multiplied 1,000 times on this. I mean, nothing about this book makes me that interested in reading the next issue.
Yeah.
Had no page turners at all.
No, none.
Yeah, you know, and for people who don't know, page turners are those things at the bottom of the page where makes you want to turn the page. I didn't want to, you know, nothing made me want to go to the next page. And even the ending with the ship, I'm not that interested in why it blew up.
Yeah.
You know, or what happened to it. It's just not interesting in any way, shape, or form, sadly.
Yeah. Chris?
I have to agree with John. I got not even a couple of pages into the book, and I wrote you on Facebook saying, I'm bored.
Mm-hmm.
It was so much dialogue and so much I don't care. And then it got to the point where that poor guy that was asleep for 3 years, not even awake for a couple of hours, loses both of his legs. It's like, oh, okay, I can see it. Honestly, I wouldn't have read this book if it was just me, you know, reading books. The only reason I read it was for tonight, but I honestly wouldn't have read it otherwise. I wouldn't have even wasted my time reviewing it because there's no positives I could say about this book. It's not my type of book. I'll say it like that. It's not my type of book.
I'll agree with that. Sadly, you know, there was a lot of talk about it, especially being, you know, the story being created by Mike Richardson, who's the publisher of Dark Horse, and the team, the writing team from Star Wars Legacy. I thought, you know, it would be better. So
yeah, I was expecting more when you told me that too.
Yeah, and it kind of makes me nervous because now they're on a Marvel book. But
Yeah.
so now I'm really nervous about that book.
You know, it'd be a much better story if the main character, had gotten injured.
Yeah.
And, you know, we could have followed that. And then if, you know, perhaps if the girl felt some small amount of sympathy and risked her life to stay.
Yeah, it's...
You know, that might have been a better story, but this...
Yeah.
It just... It kind of went nowhere. I mean, you know, how the one guy got so injured and he got nothing when they were standing literally next to each other.
Yeah, and also, I can't believe... It was a little bit unbelievable that guy who lost his leg was just like, oh, it's fine. I'll walk when I get back to Earth. I'll just have to stay here for a while. There was no stages of anything. It was just like...
No depression, no sadness. There's nobody that's like that.
And I get trying to be positive and all that stuff, but it was just like, oh, lost him. Oh well, that's cool.
No, he wanted to go to the bar. He wanted to go to the bar.
Yeah.
You know, he wanted, even though they don't suggest drinking on this planet because of the heavy gravity and all that, blah blah. He wanted to go to the bar. He just followed him, the main dude, to the fence because they were talking.
Yeah, so basically his friend cost him his legs, and he's just like, oh, no, it's cool, man.
Yeah, logically, you would have ripped into that guy, at least for a second.
Yeah, it's
you know.
It was very, very poor. I was really disappointed. But
yeah.
It's full of uninteresting characters that there's no...
Yeah, I was left uncaring, too. I have no urge to pick up issue 2.
Yeah, so there you go.
I mean, I felt more sympathy for the stupid plant thing that they were trying to get into in the box, you know, rather than any of the people.
Maybe that was their goal. If that was their goal, you succeeded.
Feel sympathetic towards the plants that they're shipping home.
Oh man. Anyway, real quick, since we didn't mention it, writers of or creative team on Star Wars Rebel Heist, writer Matt Kent, art by Marco Castiello. So
there you go.
Just want to throw that out there. All right, so the last book we have, Gordon, Chris, and I read this one. This is Grimm Fairy Tales number 101. And the reason we chose this one is because it is jumping on point. We'll see if everybody feels that way in a minute. But this takes place after that huge Age of Darkness and Realm War, things that went on and the whole universe kind of changed. And so this is supposed to be the jumping on point where new readers can kind of dive into the story. This is written, story by Joe Brusherup, Tedesco, and Pat Shan. Written by Pat Shan, artwork by Andrea Maloney. So, Gordon, what did you think about this one?
I really like this book. I had never read Grimm. I'd never read this series before this issue. So I come into this, you know, I'm one of those new readers that this serves as a great jumping on point. And I love the story. There was I never got the sense that they were like referring to some big event that had happened. Mm-hmm. It's fun. For me, it moved at a really brisk pace. I love the art. I like the fact that we're kind of trailing this. It's the daughter. The main character is the daughter of like one of the heroes of this realm, and it's her first day at kind of a. It's described as Hogwarts meets the X-Men. Yeah. Which I thought was just brilliant. I really, it's fun. I would pick up. This is a book that I would definitely pick up and read the next issue, just to give it a try. Something like Deep Gravity, I probably will not download my review copy to read, because the more you guys talked about it, the more I was tempted to take a nap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I felt like.
Don't blame you. Well, I'm actually really glad you enjoyed this. I've not read that much of Zenescope's books. I think I've only read a few issues of Grimm Fairy Tales in the past, and they've been random issues. And but this, I really enjoyed this one too. And you're right, it did move very briskly. I was interested in the characters. It didn't weigh you down with all the stuff that had happened before. It just kind of set you on this new path. And there was a lot of X-Men stuff. That X-Men kind of comparison, I like that he threw in there, like you mentioned, and just little things like that throughout. You had the mentor thing, and there was one point, not to give too much away, but there was one point where her mother is telling the mentor guy, who's like 1,000 years old, 11,000 years old, however old he is, that she doesn't have many friends to help her make him, and he was like, and you want me to do that? Like, he had no clue what to tell a teenage girl what to do, and it was very relatable, I think. Just it had a lot of I don't know, the interpersonal relationships and everything. It was clever, it was fun, it was fast paced, and it left you with a reason to come back for the next issue with what happens towards the end. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Chris?
I've been reading Zenescope for a while, ever since back when we had Dark Avenger Inc. and we reached out to them and they showed us interest and we started reading a lot of their stuff. I was told by Mike Spider Slayer or Comic Book Corner 2.0 that I was gonna love Grimm Fairy Tales, and I was skeptical because when I started reading Grimm Fairy Tales, I jumped in the middle of a story arc where Sela was actually in jail, so I was kind of like left with a big question mark because I jumped in the middle.
Right.
The one thing I love about the Zenescope books are the very beginning, the first page, which I was stupid and ignored with this book, and I should have read it because I was like, okay, what happened? The realms got together, and how was everything Happy Gilmore? And then I just read now while we were talking about the book, the following event takes place 1 year after Grimm Fairy Tales Realm War. Now it all makes more sense.
It made sense to us because we haven't read any of that. So.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I was like, the world was ending. What happened? And I stupidly didn't read I thought that it was going to say exactly what we saw in 100, and it was just going to continue forward. But Grimm Fairy Tales 101 takes a leap into the future. So Grimm Fairy Tales is a year ahead of everything else going on in the Grimm universe right now. But I fell in love with the character, with Sela, very quickly once I got into the stories, the way they were written. The universe itself is a really, really interesting universe. Mike and I literally buy everything from Zenescope, from the one-shots to the miniseries to the main ongoing series, everything, because it's just that amazing that you want to. If you don't feel like you have to, like when Marvel does an event and there's like a million tie-ins, and you feel like you have to buy everything in order to get all of the story, in Zenescope's case, you want to. You don't feel like you need to. With Grimm Fairy Tales 101, you get the fresh look, a fresh jumping on point for anybody who hasn't read it before. And I love the aspect of the school. It definitely took all the positive X-Men and Hogwarts feel, and it made it work for this book. And also there was a thing with Sela and her daughter throughout the whole first 100 issues. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Realm Wars that brings her daughter back. Because I don't remember the situation, but I know Sela was separated from her daughter for a time. Mm. I jumped in towards the 80s and 90s, so I only heard little glimpses here, there, and everywhere. I really need to get the old issues to find out what happened. But she lost her daughter, so to see her daughter back and to see what's going on in the future, it's really, and her daughter's power especially is really interesting. And the direction they're going with Grimm Fairy Tales, I really, really like it a lot. And you get to see a lot of characters that you've known throughout miniseries and other series in the Zenescope line. And I just really loved it. And the last page definitely left me with I can't wait to see what the next issue is going to be about.
Cool. And we should mention this is an advance review. This book actually comes out on August 20th. So Zenescope has been gracious enough to give some well in advance reviews copies. So
that's why I didn't want to give too much away.
Yeah, exactly. So
artwork's beautiful.
Yeah,
last thing I wanted to say, the artwork's beautiful.
It really is. There's some really great color washes on some of these pages, specifically when they showed the school for the first time, the red and orange sky. I thought that was gorgeous. But yeah, so this was a really good book, John. You should read this one. So
yeah, I think I will. I'm kind of sad that I wasted
on
the
Deep
time
Gravity.
reading Deep Gravity.
But there you go. You got 4 book reviews basically in this episode, so I think we've covered a lot of ground. And
it's too bad, Brett. It's too bad you didn't have everybody read Robin Hood #1. They were Zenoscope was allowing for advanced reviews of that book.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I just thought this would be this is the the cheap title of the company, and it's the relaunch and everything, and
gotcha.
I really liked it, so there you go.
Well, if you like Grimm Fairy Tales 101. If you like Robin Hood, if you like the character, if you look her up and you like her, I would definitely say you'll love Robin Hood #1 as well. Written by the same person. I think. Yeah, it's written by the same person.
Mm-hmm. And it also comes out on the 20th. So.
Oh, well, look at that.
Yep. All right, so that's going to wrap up our show. So all we have left to do is go around the table and see what everybody has coming out, and going on. Gordon, we'll start with you.
Okay, well, as always, I have a short story in the Prose anthology Tall Pope. So feel free to check it out on Amazon. You can get the Kindle version for $3 or a trade paperback for about $10. And as a very special offer, if you read it and leave a review, either on your blog or on Amazon, I'll shout you out in this very podcast. Also, since Ron is not here, I figured I'm going to give a little plug for one of his Airship 27 works. And I like to begin with the story. This morning I'm waking up and I get a call from Chris who's talking about how Grant called him to be on the podcast. And he said, Gordon, I'd love to read more Westerns, but they need more Lovecraftian style horror. And Chris, I'm here to tell you, there's a book for you. It's called Six Gun Terror, which is a Western horror hybrid written by, I believe it's Fred Adams Jr. It's the same guy who did Hit Wolf, which is about a mafia hitman who becomes a werewolf. So feel free with Airship 27. You want to get Six Gun Terrors as well as Hit Wolf. I'm sure if Ron were here, he'd tell you more about it, but go out, buy them, buy copies for your friends, buy Tall Pulp. If you come to me with the actual copy, I'll sign it and write some wacky message. And pretty much right now, I'm just trying to set up my own kind of little consultancy as well as getting some writing projects done. So that's it for me.
Cool. Awesome. And Chris?
Right now, I just launched a new series on Comic Frontline, which is the Funko Spotlight, which is going to spotlight Funko Pop vinyl figures, the plushies, everything that Funko makes. Myself, Cindy, maybe Michael, and somebody else who will be doing their review next week. So that's going to be very interesting. I already talked to this person, and this person will be doing this person's review. I don't want to say what it is of. So I'm just gonna say next week I won't be doing the review. It'll be the mystery member of Comic Frontline doing it. I'm really enjoying the series. There's a lot of awesome figures that come out of Funko. If you haven't checked them out, I would definitely recommend checking them out. The figures are inexpensive unless you are an exclusive junkie. Then you're going to be spending a little bit more than $10, but the regular price is $10. I'm still working on my story for Frontline Fiction. It's just coming along slowly because work is taking a lot of my time and definitely draining me. It's a podcast I'm skipping this week because I don't have the time to record it. So when I have the time, I definitely will be doing It's a Podcast probably next week again. So yeah, at least I did a podcast this week. Other than that, I have a lot of videos I'll be posting on Comic Frontline, and like I said, Brooklyn Boys is going to be a humongous announcement for Epic X, which is a story myself, Mike, and Brant, who is going to be our consultant / co-writer as well, will be working on. So, Hole of Toys hopefully will be next week too if Brant has the time. We'll be doing it next week, and the morning live stream should be back this weekend with me and Brant also.
Cool. All right, John.
All right. Well, I am in the production phase of my 12-pager for the Steampunk Originals anthology. My part is called Bound for Pangea. I also tentatively call it Steam Teen. but the official title is Bound for Pangea. I'm also still doing the children's book of a friend of mine. I think it's tentatively called Landscapes. I'm illustrating her writing of the story of her backyard and the plants and animals that frequent her backyard. However, she's on her way back to school, so that may put a slight slowdown on that particular thing. Let's see. Other than that, not too much else going on other than posting stories every day for the Mighty Comic Related. And beyond that, go see Guardians. Because it was really, really good. I've seen it twice.
Don't go see Turtles. Don't go see Turtles. It's out today. Don't go see it.
You'll hurt yourself.
Go see Guardians again
yourself.
instead.
Yeah, go see Guardians again and see all the things you missed laughing the first time.
There you go. Except the end credits. That wasn't really funny.
Yeah, I thought it was.
It was hilarious.
It was hilarious, but not something I hope that will lead into a movie.
It's not.
No, it won't. It was
They've
just
already
for fun.
confirmed
He
it
even
was.
said so.
Okay.
Did I hear you chiming in, Gordon, or no?
No, you didn't.
Okay, I'm hearing.
Although I did see Guardians, and I do think that the very last scene is a classic, but
Yes.
I'm going to leave it there.
There you go. Awesome.
Oh, and well, speaking of Funko, the first scene, the first credit scene. Somebody make this.
Oh yeah.
This needs to be a thing.
Absolutely, I agree. All right, so for me, I'll echo John with the comic related, obviously. Every day, updating stuff. We have a bunch more San Diego Comic-Con panel videos coming throughout the rest of this week and next week, so be on the lookout for those. For me personally, New Comic Day, hopefully the website will be back up and working next week, if not then the week after. We are actually working on something for the site, so be on the lookout for that as well. Updates on the New Comic Day Facebook page. I recently got contacted once again for Human Resources Volume 2 is back in production, so I'll be working on issues 2 and 3 of that very soon. Yeah, looking forward to that. And let's see, is there anything else? Seems like there's something I'm forgetting.
All the toys?
You already mentioned that, so.
Oh, I thought you wanted to expand on the announcement.
No.
Something for Chris Carlton?
No,
No?
nothing yet. It'll come to me after the show, so that's okay though. Yeah, so I guess I will update everybody if I think of it next week. But that'll wrap it up for me, and that'll wrap it up for us. So who wants to read this out? Nobody. Okay, Chris, you're reading us out.
Let's say I have to pull it back up if I'm doing it.
Pull it back up so I'll read this out. Fine. I never do it anyway.
Don't ever ask Brant to do the outro as Groot.
Hey, that was
Okay,
fun stuff.
I'll read this out.
I can read this out. I always do it. I mean, I've never done it. What am I trying to say?
Brent,
Gordon, read it.
okay, Brent, you want me to do it?
Go ahead.
No,
Somebody
everybody
do it.
do it at the same time.
Yeah, that's it. We'll do it in rounds. That's what we'll do.
Hey, that works.
Okay,
Who's
well-
got the
well-
first sentence?
Well, first I'd like to say, Ron, I wish you were here. You need to keep us in line, but all of us would like to thank the official bands of Zone 4.
We like
the
to
Ray
thank the
Wall
official
Band.
bands as well. No, go ahead.
No, you can't do that.
I know.
That'll irritate.
Go ahead, Gordon. I'm sorry.
Okay. We would like to thank the Ray Wall Band and Society's Plague, who are the official bands of Zone 4, and you hear them on the show each and every week. If you have comments, questions, suggestions, maybe even some proper life management tips for Brant,
Well,
please send those to zone4 at comicsrelated.com. We'll also take 8x10 glossies, credit card numbers, PIN numbers, ATM card
don't
numbers.
say that.
We are also proud member of the Comic Related Podcast Network. Whether they're part of us is another thing entirely. And as always, we thank you, the listener, for listening and sharing this time with us. and you are now leaving Zone 4.
You're welcome.
I am Groot.
Oh God, here we go again with the gardeners.
The gardeners? The gardeners
Yeah,
of the
Gardeners
galaxy?
of the Galaxy. That's the new spin-off movie.
Gardeners of the Galaxy.
Yeah, they're tending to Groot.
Yeah.
Oh, good lord.
Oh, good night.
Yeah, and every time the Guardians come through and start a fight, they're always like, "Hey, I just mowed here."
Yeah, they're chasing Rocket Raccoon away.
Yeah, they don't want him to pee on the flowers.
Streets of New York City, he steps out to make a stand. He's Spider-Man.
All right.
Yeah, I was just about to give up and say, okay, Brant, Skype is just giving me a hard time, but I said, no, I've got my tablet, it's worth a shot. And I blame Ron.
Him traveling to Pulp Fest somehow messed up your Skype. All right.
Gave you an anti-technology disease.
There you go.
He gave you fogies.
No, actually what he did is he called Skype and said, don't let Gordon sign in. I don't
Never
want those
when
guys
I'm not
to be signing
there.
While I'm at Pulp Fest.
Yeah, exactly.
Never when I'm not there.
Brant,
Yes.
sending an email saying, let's make this stuff up as we go along ain't much of an agenda.
That is true, but it's worked for us so far.
Yeah, why mess with success, right?
Exactly. You call this success? Okay.
Well, emphasis on suck, but...
Let me just shut my air conditioner, at least for the beginning of the show.
Alright. It's probably not going to be any worse than mine and John's fans.
I was about to say, not me, dude. It is the surface of the sun in here. I'm not shutting shit down.
I live in Texas.
Well, there you go.
All right. And everybody have a great weekend. I'm going to go eat.
Okay, you should do that.
See you later.
All right.
All right, bye.
Bye.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production.